My teacher had healed actually close to 1.5 million people. My ambition is to teach more than that how to heal themselves. In essence, again, and healing is the wrong word that we use because I don't really heal anybody. I help their energy back into balance where the body can heal itself. So there are very few occasions where we have to rip out energy and throw it away and such. But again, in order to put it back in balance where the body continues its natural function.
Hi everyone. On today's episode, I am thrilled to welcome Csongor Daniel. Csongor is a master of bioenergy healing. He's an author. He's an expert in harnessing the power of energy to promote healing and well-being. His teacher, he says, has healed over 1 million people, but Csongor's mission is a little bit different. He wants to empower others by teaching them how to heal themselves. And he's got over 30 years of experience and has conducted seminars, lectures around the world, and he's helping people unlock their own healing potential. So I'm really excited to get a better understanding from you because it sounds very fascinating to me. And I'm sure it's going to be the same for the listeners. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'll be happy to talk about it.
Great. Okay, so Csongor, I would be very interested to know, because I know that you live in America, but just a little bit about your background and what actually led you to move to the States and when did that happen? So we can kickstart the conversation with that.
My name is Hungarian. I'm from a Hungarian family, but I was born and raised in Yugoslavia. Had many nationalities at the time. The country doesn't exist anymore. I always run into these questions, what kind of name it is and where it's from, and that makes sense. Yes, I was born and raised there. It was an amazing place at the time until it fell apart, of course. I just happened to be on vacation in the United States in 91 when the war started in Yugoslavia. And I stayed a little bit longer till things cooled down, and I'm still here. But all of my education early, yes, so I was in the States in 1991 on vacation when the war started in Yugoslavia. And I stayed a little bit longer till things cooled down, and then a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And here I am still. Not a bad place to be at. Otherwise, as far as the healing goes, I have no idea about it. My early life, I studied engineering in college. It was about halfway through my college studies when I learned about the existence of the energy and I started playing with it. It was more like a hobby until one day my mom's back was hurting. And at that time, I still didn't know what I was doing. Let's go back in time. I stopped some pain. I would stop my marathon runner's buddy's ankle was hurting all the time. And after one session, it stopped. And we still didn't know how it worked, but it worked. So this day, my mom's back was hurting incidentally, and I stepped behind her and I visualized pulling that pain out, I didn't know it was excess energy at the time. I just visualized it like that. And next thing I know, my mom is standing here and my hand is behind her. And I start pulling this energy, and all of a sudden she starts leaning back. I'm like, whoa, what is that? I push my hand forward. My mom goes forward. Pull my hand back. My mom goes back and forth a few times. Mom, what are you doing? She says, nothing. What are you doing? I said, I don't know what to do with that. I told my buddies that night in the pub, hey, this and this happened. And they were like, yeah, right. There's no way you can do that. We made a bet, and I moved one of them. Then the next one. Then by the end of the night, the entire pub was into it. We were betting in beer, who's going to move, who's not. That was the beginning of my brilliant healing career. But that's where I saw that there is a lot more to it than meets the eye. I was always logical. That's why I went to engineering, and I wanted a logical explanation about what this energy was. You don't see it, you don't feel it until you learn how to. But in essence, nobody taught us as kids, and it's an instinct. When you hit yourself, what do? You rub that area that you hit.
Yeah.
Now, in your instinct, you're spreading a little bit in the nerve endings, spreading the pain around. But in reality, you're spreading the excess energy that accumulated in that area like that. And if you learn how to pull it off right away, then you halve the pain and you stop it a lot faster. So these things were new to me. I didn't know about it. A couple of weeks later, my marathon runner buddy ran over to my house with a newspaper about a professor in Belgrade who was measuring the energy fields of the body. And there was a date, and I figured, wow, maybe he can give me some explanation. In the meantime, my mom was calling me like, hey, look at this guy. And that there was a documentary or a news segment or something about this person who was down by the Adriatic on an island, also in Yugoslavia. And there were people snaking through the tiny streets waiting in line to see him. And they show him, and there he was bending people and moving them without touching them. I was like, there's somebody else who can do it, who figured it out. And I tried to get in touch with him, but now this is the 80s. No internet, no, even the phone lines were terrible. By the time I got in touch with somebody, with a receptionist at a hotel on the island, he told me that this guy wasn't there anymore. His name was Zdenko Domanci. And I was just blown, it blew my mind. Like, I need to meet him. They didn't know where he went. So anyway, I ended up going to Belgrade to this professor, and we went through all kinds of tests all day. They measure everything in your body, what they can measure in the radio, your amps, ohms, volts, and such. And he would draw conclusions out of it. And he pulled me over at the end of the day and he said, hey, you really need to change professions. You were born to be a healer. And it's like, great, there's no college courses like that. And then the only guy who I thought I would learn from, I can't find him. Don't worry about it. I have somebody for you, somebody who can teach you. And we hopped in the car, went outside of Belgrade into a place called Pančevo. And there he introduced me to Mr. And yes, I learned all the basics from him. He rented out that hotel, and his patients would come, what used to be a disco downstairs, and they would pile in, hundreds of them. And many times you come in with your problem, and by the time it was your turn to work on you, you didn't have a problem anymore. There was such a strong energy circulation. So we always worked groups. You can see your friend or family or a stranger getting better, or somebody can walk and they start walking. The treatments went on for every day, Monday through Friday. So the same people would come, and then everybody sees everybody getting better, and you see the mood getting better, and smiley faces and such. It was quite amazing. So as far as healing goes, he has figured out what worked the best. After so many people, you figure out which methods work, which movements work. And slowly he developed his own method. So many years later, in 2006, I reconnected with him, way past the wars and everything. He was still active in Slovenia. And he started teaching the masses as well. And he started teaching a method that even people who consider themselves non-gifted to heal, they can learn. Even if because about 10% of people will not be able to learn to feel or to see the energy. It's a very small percentage. Most people can do it, either or both. But he assumed that nobody can. And that's how he developed the system. Okay, hold this spot for so many minutes, then do this movement, then hold that spot for so many minutes, do these movements. But essentially, he taught thousands later on how to heal. I was lucky to be very early with him. We were one of the first 20 people in the country who were considered gifted at the time and studied with him. I added to his method. I teach my own, which is based on his, but I also teach everyone to feel and to see the energy. It's easier to manipulate like that and easier to predict other problems that you haven't found yet. The whole premise is that, first of all, everything is energy.
How do you approach long distance healing? How can someone actually experience the effects even without physically being present?
Very good question. So even if you're physically present, if I work on you, I rarely touch you. There are certain areas where I will, but in essence, it goes without touch. if I don't touch you from this distance or next county or next continent, it makes no difference. The difference is that here I can see you. And I basically automatically work on you. My hands can feel it automatically. We could talk, watch TV, and I could still be doing it. It could be done on a city bus. Long distance, I don't see you. So I have to visualize you. So for that, I go into a deep meditation. And that's actually how I start my day every day. I have quite a few clients every day, and I don't go into deep meditation for each one separately. My day would be shot.
Yeah.
I go into one deep meditation in the morning, and as if you were coming to my office, I see each one, work on each one, fix the energy, and when I come out, then I write a report to them. So we're not even connected on Zoom or anything. It works amazingly. Again, quantum physics can explain this.
Mhm.
But I would start with questions of how many people use cell phones now? How does it work? Where are the wires? Of course, it's all vibration. It's all frequency.
Yeah.
Just like right now, thousands of frequencies go through my brain, radio stations, satellites, whatnot. Thankfully, I don't pick those up. We're geared to pick up just a very small range of frequencies. So when you start working with energy healing, the frequency range changes a little bit. You add a level to it. Now, we have all experienced some sort of long distance connection. You think of someone and the phone rings with that person on the other line, right?
Yeah.
Or you think of someone and a message comes in. Or somebody starts with, oh, I was just thinking about you. So we're all interconnected, but we're not paying much attention to it. It's easier to use a phone than go down into deep meditation and start, hey mom, are you around? No, I'm washing dishes right now. So it's different, but quite doable. Some explain it through the Earth's frequencies, being close to the alpha waves. Some have other explanations. I love my teacher's explanation. He said, you know what? It works. I don't care. I'll let the scientists deal with that.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to know more. I'm a logical person, so I really wanted to see.
And you also have practical engineering background as well.
Yes, which I never really used. And I built motorcycles with that knowledge.
I
That's
wanted to
about
also
it.
ask you, because I read that and I was wondering what is that? Do you find like a connection between working with motorcycles and energy?
I don't know. The thing is, my dad was a biker, so I got hooked. That was easy. And whoever rides motorcycles, they know what I'm talking about. But it puts a balance in my life. Everything, all the energy healing, all the meditation, everything is mellow. Everything is calming, everything, no complaints. But you need some kind of a balance with it. So if I hop on a bike and ride fast, that's a balance. Or if I do something mechanical, take apart an engine and put it back together, those work with different parts of the brain. So I still have some kind of a sane balance in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just my personality. I can do a million things at the same time. I get bored if I would do just one thing. And so it goes even with the healing. If it becomes a job or work, it takes the fun away. And after 30 some years of doing it, I would like to share it more with others and realize them certain things. Now, there are some things that a teacher can teach you and some things that you have to learn yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So I can teach everybody to become a healer in one day. I have an online seminar that will teach you in 7 videos how to do it. Now you can repeat it and relearn and such, but the real knowledge comes through experience.
Yeah.
So you have to practice on your friends, family, someone. Some people who learn it from me are already doctors, practitioners, so they just change their method a little bit. I get a lot of students who used to do Reiki and other therapeutic methods, and they find this one a lot more powerful, a lot more logical and accessible to learn. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
The kids can learn it. My kids were very young when they learned how to do it. They didn't know that pain pills existed. We would just grab the pain and throw it away. I didn't have to explain it to them scientifically,
Yeah.
but it was logical. Kids, you grab the pain, throw it away, grab it wherever it is. And it's the actual technique of taking energy off. It can be around your head, it can be anywhere. My daughter was 2 when I was working on grandpa's knees. Actually, I was working on one knee. And she came over and she started mimicking my moves on the other knee. And we were all laughing. It was very cute. And then grandpa got suddenly serious. Oh, wait a second. I can feel it. And then at the end, I didn't have to work on the other knee. She did. And we realized that, well, she can stop pain at 2. It just became a normal thing. If every kid was taught in school how to do it, there would eventually be no pain. There's the book that we collaborated later on. When she was 9, she did the illustrations for it. It's her and her sister doing the energy healing. And it's a cute thing. It's a little story about her, basically a real story. There's grandpa and the knee.
Amazing. Yeah.
It through the story, it teaches kids how to stop pain.
Yeah.
How simple ones, headache and pain, and that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing to it. And also how to feel and how to see the energy. Once you learn it, you can't unsee it or unfeel it.
Yeah.
And the little feelings that you had before, that sixth sense or such,
Yeah.
it becomes normal because that's who you are. That's part of you. You're born with it.
Yeah.
So I'm really not teaching anybody anything, just like I'm not healing anybody. I do energy engineering, let's put it that way. And I just bring up in people what they already have. That's so simple. If we went just 2 generations like this, you teach the next generation how to heal, the pharmaceutical companies would go bankrupt.
Okay, I wanted to talk to you about nutrition a little bit.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere that you mentioned nutritional myths. And so, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about nutrition that you've come across? And what should we, in a nutshell, what should we be doing differently? That's one. And 2,
So,
you've also
mhm.
mentioned something about souls.
Yes, let's look at the world now. We go back. I used to read the Little House on the Prairie to the kids and how they prepared for the winter and what kind of food they had, what they were eating and such. That food is in the past. It doesn't exist. And everybody knows what's healthy now. First of all, it has to be organic. And if you didn't grow it, you really don't know where it's coming from. But let's assume that it's all certified. So number one, it has to be organic. It has to be unprocessed. If there's something you can't read on it, don't buy it, don't eat it. It's not for you. All of the grain, granola stuff, that's for the animals to get fat. The cereals, the oats, it was for the pigs to get fat. The corn, it's not for human consumption. You can Google anything nowadays, but if you go with the chemistry of your body, you want to be alkaline, just like your blood. So what are the foods that, make you alkaline? What are the ones that make you acidic? That's very easy. Lots of knowledge about that. We know that milk doesn't do the body good, right? Like the commercials did for 20 years. That little milk mustache was so cute, but milk is for the cows. Let's drop that subject too. We went through the egg debate, cholesterol. Your brain is cholesterol. Why would you deny your body cholesterol? Why would you take it away? Let's drop that. I don't really, there's plenty going on about it and all these conspiracies.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones is about salt. Every doctor you ask will tell you to lower the sodium. There are lower sodium foods. There are lower sodium potato chips, for crying out loud. Why would you even eat it if it's not salted? But anyway, that's a different thing what the potato chips were cooked in, because all of the seed oils are bad for you and carcinogen and such. But with the oils, it's easy. Use coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil if you use it raw, coconut oil for cooking. If you don't have that, use lard or butter, still natural, still okay. Everything else you can throw to dump. Going to your salt, this is the tough one. Okay? Everybody tells you to drop the salt. Why? Because the blood pressure. Why? Why does it make your blood pressure go up? What's the point? If you think about it, the most important electrolyte in your body is salt. That's the number one. Now I'm talking about sodium chloride, not other salts, but sodium chloride. In your cell, the cell wall, it doesn't have a normal door. It lets nutrients in and out according to chemistry. So it lets sodium and potassium in and out. Now, potassium is important too, but not the same ratio, not the same amount. By the time your cell loses 2% of potassium chloride, it lost 60% of sodium chloride. Working down the math, the salt, for it to be healthy, it has to be 97% sodium chloride, just to make sure that there's less than 3% of potassium chloride in it. The potassium chloride would do some damage. The sodium chloride is your best friend. It's the best friend in the entire world. Okay. Most people are dehydrated.
Yeah.
Tell them drink more water. Then I pee more. Yeah, because there's nothing to hold on to the water. That's why you need the salt. Okay, so I have not had a glass of water without salt in it for the last 5 years, by the way.
After all these years of experience, what continues to inspire you to keep going?
When I walked out of college with a diploma, I was like, yes, I don't have to learn anything ever again. Later, I realized that was BS. But now that's what inspires me, that I will learn something new all the time. And the more people I teach, the more things I learn. Every seminar I do is a learning experience for me. So I get a lot of pleasure out of it. The healing, it's quite obvious. When somebody feels better because of you, it's the world to you,
Yeah.
or you're the world to somebody.
Yeah.
Even if you change one person's life in your lifetime, you've done something well. And if you do it 1,000 times, it's amazing. And the real, again, I can't say it's a hidden agenda because I didn't know about it. But recently, a few years ago, I went back in memory, and it turns out that the last time I was sick was in 1989. And I tried to figure out why. Because as a kid, I was quite sickly. I'd pick up every cold, everything that was going on, every bug. And I realized that over time, and exactly that's what I'm teaching, this energy is everywhere. It's not my energy that I give to you. It just goes through me. It's just the ability of the energy to go to someone else. However, when I give energy to others every day, the energy going through me creates a constant flow. So it prevents the formation of any type of obstacles. And wow, so Muhammad Ali was right. It's better to give than to receive, but not even a cold or a runny nose or nothing. My fiance had the COVID for a half a day. We fixed her up pretty fast, but on paper, she had it for a couple of weeks. And we slept together, ate together, kissed, and still nothing. So even that, it's all about movement and balance. And then that's how the universe works.
Wow.
If you don't go against it, you can get a pretty decent life.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. It's just been incredible listening to you.